Or do you think they've got kids? I think they're like single guys.
They don't even have fucking wives. Like, this is high maintenance, right?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome to the Zen Properties podcast, a podcast about building long-term wealth and cash-flowing businesses through real estate. Dive into interviews with industry legends, content packed with actionable tips and relaxed banter. We are Mac and Maggie Daring. Please enjoy the show. Hi guys, what's up? This is Maggie and Mac from Zen Properties Podcast. It's absolutely amazing to have you here today. This is episode number 8. As always, I'm joined by my absolutely amazing, smashing, beautiful wife, Magdalena. How are you doing, Maggie?
All good. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Okay, so let's crack on. Today, we will be talking about building a business with kids, babies, cats, and all the circus that we call a family home. Okay, so is it possible?
Possible, yeah, it is very possible.
Okay, cool. That was episode 8 for us, guys. Okay, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, we run a small family development business and we have this small podcast here. And our portfolio currently, we own roughly £500,000 in our own portfolio, and then another £500,000 of own equity is coming within the next 12 months. Our joint portfolio is worth GDV of around £1.7 million. Our turnover for this year will be around £1 million, including service accommodation units that we mostly rent. And you can find us everywhere. So you can find us on, well, you can't find me on Facebook because I don't like the platform, but yeah, Maggie's on Facebook, or she will be shortly, but also Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and our own website, zenstays.co.uk, or actually it's zenstays.uk, or zenproperties.uk. Coolio. So we've decided to change the structure of the podcast a little bit. So every time it's just me and Maggie with no guests, we will give you a quick update about what's happening with our portfolio. And that's not just to show like how amazing we are, of course we are, but we want you to avoid the mistakes that we are making in those projects, right? So we'll focus on challenges. We won't focus on successes too much in this segment. So let's start with the first one, with Oxford. So Oxford is our latest addition to the Rent to SA portfolio as a JV, and we've launched that stuff like 2.5 weeks ago. Yep. It had a very strong start with very, very high prices, but then it stopped. So we had to drop prices a little bit. We are roughly twice as expensive as the most expensive property in the area. So we are very expensive, but it's a lovely property with pool table, hot tub, and 85-inch TV, PlayStation 5, darts, and a very nice design throughout.
But it's a large property, right? So
not only the property is large here.
We don't have really a lot of neighbors. Like it's a standalone, and it's an amazing performer, right? How many bedrooms? 4
and 2.5 bathrooms.
Oh yeah.
And the games room, full-size games room, converted from a garage, so and we still have driveway for.
And currently, it is performing a lot better than even our like London properties, right?
I would question that. So
but it's October, so for October it's
very good. Yeah, so pretty much it almost broke even in 10 days after launching it, which is absolutely ecstatic, right? It's fantastic. So that's Oxford. Now the second property that we are still dealing with is our first commercial conversion from the office to 3 flats in Moseley, outskirts of Northampton and Kettering. And we have completed the bridge. So the bridge is actually my favorite topic now.
So it's our first bridge taken?
Not true, really. So we've taken bridge for Cotswolds. We've taken bridge for Swaddling Coat Purchase.
Yeah,
so this is the third
one. But I feel like it was the first experience for taking the bridge of this kind, because, right?
By this kind, you mean like for a leasehold?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where the fun was all hidden. So just to give you a quick example of what to look out for when you take the bridge or not take the bridge. So what happened to us? We finished the development of this beautiful property. We have 3 amazing high quality flats ready, all of them 100% separate. 2 out of 3 flats are now tenanted. We are still struggling to find a tenant for the 3rd flat. So lesson number 1, we've invested in a village setting. It's a brand new village, but it's still a village. So conversion rates, they are quite high. Pretty much all the people, except for 1 that visited the flats, they wanted to live there, but only 2 passed references and like 10 didn't. So that's a little bit on the bullshit side. These 10 people, they are all on benefits. Their benefits are not enough to pay for the rent, and they don't have guarantors, and some of them are like convicts with prison sentences. So that's the audience that we attract in this high-end flats. Why do we attract such low-quality people? What's happened there?
I think that they just see that we're private landlords, so they're trying their luck, right? Although we are very transparent, and when they contact us first, we always say, look, you will be going through referencing the same as you would have if you went to the high street like estate agents. So they but I think they're still trying their luck.
They are trying their luck in a big time, wasting our time a little bit.
And we do need proper referencing for the insurance company.
That is true.
That is our
So the tenant or the guarantor, 1 out of 2, they need to pass referencing in full before we can put a rent insurance in place.
Yeah.
And rent insurance is something that we start doing on default because we've learned a lesson, and that was before the renter's bill was introduced. And that was super difficult to evict a tenant, which took us 11 months. We've lost like £10,000 in rent from one of the properties in Northampton. And now we simply will not accept any tenants that do not pass full referencing. And on top of that, I need to have 5 out of 5 gut feeling when I speak to those people. If I don't, then they're not getting it. So I would prefer to lose like a one month rent or 2 months rent rather than risk it again, especially now where it's virtually impossible to evict people. Okay, so now what can happen is you can have a tenant under new renter's bill. They will stop paying you money. You cannot do anything for 2 months. After 2 months, you can start doing the eviction process. 2 days before the bailiff order from the court, they will pay you £150 or whatever they decide, and then everything restarts, and you're back to square one with tenant that doesn't pay. Tenants, they have way more rights than landlords currently in the UK, so be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. And also, like, additional issue with Mosley was that all these beautiful flats, they were on a single lease. I will say it again because people, they don't think about it, right? And the single lease has stopped the refinance, full refinance with, like, with a high street bank on good residential buy-to-let terms. It stopped it completely because the banks, they don't want to lend against properties that are sitting on a single lease when you have multiple properties. Because if something happens, then the bank cannot sell one. They have to sell all three. And the demand in this area is not as high.
And it's a lot harder to do that, right?
Yes. So now coming back to the bridge, my favorite topic, instead of working with a freeholder to split the lease, we've decided with our absolutely amazing finance advisor to pursue a bridge. The bridge was required for us to pay our investors and to pay the last invoice for our contractors. So we were under a lot of pressure, time pressure, where we had to pay it like now, like today, not tomorrow.
Because that money meant to come from the refinance that has been stopped due to the leasehold not being split.
Yeah.
Therefore, we found ourselves in the situation where actually we cannot do the refinance. We don't have the funds to pay off our investors and contractors, right?
Yeah.
So then we were like on the timeline to get that bridge, and that we in our heads it meant to be, because the bridge in theory is supposed to be really fast, because the main purpose of the bridge, bearing in mind all the huge fees you're paying, right, for the fast turnover in theory, it's in this, for the situations like that when you're really stuck and you need the money now to fill out the gaps.
Yes.
Now, what happened?
What didn't happen? So the fast bridge that Maggie has mentioned, we've started it in July, and we got the money released to our investor on Monday. Okay, so July, entire July, beginning of July, September.
Was it beginning or beginning of?
No, it was July. It was definitely July. Yeah, we were still in Poland.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's July. What is after July? August or September? Okay. August. Okay, yeah, well done. So it's August, September, October, and now we're in November. So 4 full months taken by the bridge because of the issues with the lease. But look what happened. At one point, we were paying 5 solicitors for the breach to happen. 5 solicitors, can you imagine that? So we were paying my solicitor to represent me. We were paying lender's solicitor legal fees. We were paying freeholder's solicitor that was working on a deed of variation, that's free. We were paying for another solicitor for us to give us the independent legal advice, and that was absolute bullshit because it required us to wet sign the documents. First time in my life I had to wet sign documents for ILA, okay? That was stupid as fuck. So we had to wet sign it. Then we had to have witnesses, send it over to my solicitor to wet sign it, and then my solicitor was sending it over to the lender's solicitor. And, you know, every solicitor, they take their sweet time before they action anything. So
loads on the
I would say, like, if they have an action on their table, it enters their to-do queue, and it takes them, like, I don't know, between 1 to 3 days to do a single thing, okay? Single thing, 3 days. So typically...
And then they need, like, a day to send it back.
Yes. So that was absolute bullshit. But we got the breach in the end. It cost us just £13,000 in legal cost. I'm not even talking about breach finance cost on top of that. Okay, so be careful with breaches. Okay, be careful. The bigger the breach, the lower the percent you will drop on legals. So small bridges, I don't think they make too much sense. So focus more on getting private investors. Big bridges, they still make a lot of sense, but make sure that you're not working under stupid pressure. So the sooner you start the process, the better.
Although I do think we were very unlucky with the quality of service we've been given. Very last minute, when we thought actually we are nearly there, then they've dropped the bomb from this requirement. So it's not like they've got a checklist of their own, but they've never given us all like the comprehensive list of things that are required. Yeah. So even the solicitors on the other side were last minute, and it happened like numerous of times, right? I've lost count. They were just like, at one point they've taken a step back, they've done a huge U-turn. It was such a mess, and we were like, every time we're like, one more thing, really? When is it going to end? Like, why would they not just...
I was telling my contractor for the last 5 weeks that, we are due for a payout tomorrow. For 5 weeks.
But even like with this deed of variation, they said at the beginning, actually we don't need it, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, actually we do need it.
Yes.
So they kept changing their mind, and they do not really take any responsibility for the quality of service, right? They're still going to charge you money for it. So next step for us, an improvement, is to find a different firm of solicitors. I will try and give some solicitors a call from like north of the UK, because they tend to be cheaper and deliver a better service. And we have been told by one of the mortgage advisors a while ago, if you do have a list of authorized, from the panel, solicitors, just try and giving them a call and get a feel for them. How quickly are they going to pick up the phone? How quickly are they going to send you an email after that? Do you need to go through the info line? And it actually did work for one of the purchases that we picked solicitors ourselves. They're quite good.
They were?
One of the very, very first, we were selling the Windflower. Do you remember?
Clive?
No, it wasn't Clive. It was a different
solicitor's
firm. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it was someone I picked.
You picked?
Yeah, and they were quite quick.
Where are they?
But that was an authorized from... I don't think you can always pick the same solicitors, can you? Because they're not always going to be on the panel.
Yeah.
And this time we've had a firm from London, and it was... They're very, very... They're a lot more snobby and almost like... Anyway, so we managed to get there in the end. But it was...
Finally. Better late than never.
It was the most stressful thing we've done so far.
Yeah, I'll probably leave for, 10 years less because of the stress. Okay, next one. So the third project that we have open now is Cotswolds, and it also had or still has challenges, and we expect it to have even more challenges, right? Because that's a development for you. So you need to have balls of steel or teeth of steel, because you don't have balls, I hope.
Yeah, but for Cotswolds, the challenge at this stage was making sure that the windows replacement is all sorted, because the Cotswolds property is all conservation area. So we had to check with the conservation officer, and he did come in to actually view the property, and he gave us a decision sort of on paper to say, yes, I'm happy for you to install like for like windows. He didn't give us specifics, so we had to be very careful. Obviously, in terms of the visual look and thickness, so single glaze now has to be
Double glaze.
Double glaze. So that's the big expenditure for us. But yeah, we had to be obviously very, very careful with that. We checked with Mev, our architect, just to give us some guidance around it. So now we've chosen, our JV partner now has chosen the windows. We're all happy with it, and yeah, so that's all sorted.
Yeah, very good quote. So we had to be careful because the windows alone is like 25k for this property in Cotswolds. Like, a lot of bay sash windows, they are expensive. So if we fucked it up and had to like replace it, we just simply can't afford it. So we waited a little bit longer to make sure that everyone is happy. We knew that we can do the one-for-one replacement, but we wanted to have it in writing. And
exactly.
Now we do.
Yeah, and the next one is the flooring. So the flooring in that property, that was all sort of sat on the actual ground, on the actual wet soil, and it was all kind of going like sinking in.
Yeah,
like,
for the last 100 years, it was sitting on the wet soil.
Alongside some of the walls, right? Some of the actual, some of the brick. So that has been removed. So 20 centimeters has been dug out.
Dug?
Right? Digged out.
Digged? Dug out? Yeah.
Dug out. Dig, dug, yeah. Okay, you're going to remove that.
No, I won't.
Okay. So 20 centimeters of the soil has been taken out. And we've had a concrete laid out.
Yes.
Right? And then we've had, what else has been done?
Membrane?
The membrane has been put on. And then
I've got a question for you. How do you call this horizontal and vertical pieces of wood under the floor?
Joists.
Yes, well done, amazing.
Joists. There you go.
You sure? They're not joints.
So I've been saying I've been saying joints because they're like joints. They're joists. Joists.
Say it
Joists.
Oh, well done.
And then we've put on the actual joists, but then the actual walls had to be fixed as well, right?
Oh, of course.
So we had to put attach the walls with the new joists.
So we had load-bearing walls that were bearing the load of the first floor. And these load-bearing walls, they were sitting on the old floor that was sinking down. So they stopped having like a proper support. They stopped supporting the floor upstairs. So basically it was very unsafe to walk on it. And now it will be all right? Because the floor is now very solid. It's very high quality. It's great.
Yeah, so that was a huge fix, and again, additional expenditure.
Yes, and it's not only downstairs. We also had to replace half of the flooring upstairs, and that includes the half of the joists as well, because they were rotten and unsafe to use. So we had to connect the old joists with new joists, 2 meters connection, like a lot of like screwing through, and a proper strong screws. And now it doesn't move, and it gives us all the support and security that we need to welcome our guests.
Yeah, and no one is going to fall through.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You never know with Romanian construction team.
Yeah, right. So the next one was plumbing and heating that we had to deal with.
Well, that was funny, wasn't it?
With it. But we did, so we are at that stage where all the flooring, obviously, it's sort of you can
open.
see through, it's all open. So now we need to install all the wiring and for the heating and the plumbing pipes and everything. We did have a plumber coming in giving us a quote, right?
That was a good quote, wasn't it?
Including on the fixtures, all the bassinets and everything, and the
all
toilets.
The what? Bassinets?
The basin.
Yes.
And the toilets and everything, and that was what, 21k was it?
I think it was 20k.
20k that was. So obviously we're happy with it. We agreed on everything. On the first day of him coming in to actually do the job, he changed his mind, and then he was like, "Oh, actually, it was going to be 31.
And now it excluding
all the fixtures.
Yeah.
So.
No toilets.
At that point, we said, no, actually, we that's not in our budget, and not a cool man. A bit late to tell us, but we cannot afford it, so we're not going to go ahead with it, and we did manage to find someone else. Well, initially.
Yeah, what can go wrong? We are awaiting quote. So the initial meeting on site was successful. Now we have a company that specializes in renewable energy, and they seem to be quite legendarily good. They are run by our friend, and he just like moved to run this company. It's fresh for him, but the company started being in green straight away after he jumped in. Great salesman and great technical knowledge, and the team seems to be spot on as well. My hopes are high, okay? So we are installing, theoretically, a heat pump instead of a boiler now. And I think it will be substantially cheaper to run. It probably will be similar price, and I hope that they will match the initial quote of 20K. Let's see what happens. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can do it, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that will be amazing. Like
I've got mixed feelings about it, because I don't think many people know about this kind of solution, right? So obviously it's very new, and you always like have to try new things. But
and also, like, the heat pump will increase the EPC rating calculations. So if you can do a heat pump, it makes sense for you to do a heat pump. You cannot do a heat pump everywhere. Actually, that's what the plumbers, they told us. Like, you cannot do the heat pump in Cotswolds because it's not insulated well enough. And yes, we took their advice and said, yeah, cool, let's stick to a fucking boiler. And then I have the consultants from the renewable energy company saying, yeah, man, it's like your house is decent enough. All you need to have is a bigger heat pump. That's end of discussion. So yeah, we'll try to do that instead. Cool. So now, shall we start discussing the topic?
yeah.
Yeah?
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay, so chaps, it is a very common thing where people, they either have kids and do fuck all, right? So they say, oh, I have kids, so I cannot open my business, I cannot buy my properties, I cannot invest anything because A, I don't have money, B, I don't have time, C, I don't have energy. It's all fucking bullshit, isn't it? So this is like excuse. So we want to talk you through what it looked like for both of us as a family with young kids and now a baby as well and a fucking cat, and we also are not busy enough, so we have ornamental fucking fish. Okay, so that adds more to the time that I need to spend looking after things that are not family and business. But it is possible. It's not easy, but it is possible, and that's probably what you've heard from most people. Like, oh, it will be difficult. It is fucking difficult, but you can find energy and motivation to go through it, and it will be worth it at the end of the day. Yeah. Okay. So questions. Let's start with Maggie. How many kids do you have?
So we've got 2 kids. We've got a 6-year-old boy, and we've got a 14 months old girl. They are busy kids. Well, we've got a busy boy and a chilled baby girl.
Yeah, busy. By busy boys, like, my God, the levels of energy are unparalleled, right? So if you see like the facility that generates electricity using nuclear solutions, my boy has more energy than that. And it doesn't stop, right? So he's the last one to fall asleep, he's the first one to wake up, and it's non-stop. It's non-stop.
So we've been, obviously it was very difficult for us from the very beginning, but we're going to talk
adjustment,
about the adjustment, but also I think we've had it especially hard. Like, I don't think anyone would ever believe us. But we didn't know that.
Your mum would.
My mum would, because she was the closest, seeing everything sort of with her own eyes. But
we should have her on the podcast. Yeah, let's invite your mum to pod.
But people always say, "Oh, my kids are hard work." But
How about your husband?
Yeah, that too, right? But I don't think, for us, I think it was like especially draining. And yet we still managed to somehow
build some shit.
To build the business. But did we always want to have kids? No, we hated kids. We were always like anti-kids. We're
choosing like the adults-only facilities for holidays and stuff like this.
Yeah, like we wouldn't like, even like family members, we would never see it as being cute. Like, why would you have kids? Like,
they smell like shit. They smell like peas, right? They are constantly noisy and annoying and asking questions and invading your privacy.
That concept of having kids, like, we just dislike them so much. Like, I know adults without any kids now, and they actually like children, so that wasn't us at all. And we were so driven.
Yeah.
We both had full-time jobs, and we're like career driven. We thought that this is what we want to do in life. I thought I'm going to stay, in my last company. I'm going to make a career out of it. I could.
So you wanted to grind in a corporate environment forever,
I
climbing the
love
ladder.
my job. I've had an amazing boss who was like, honestly, he was like the best person on earth. Amazing team.
Especially your last boss was amazing.
When I say my last boss, I had him for the most of the time. But yeah, that was our lives, and then we somehow the first kid happened.
Yeah. So at this point, like by our lives, we are commuting to London pretty much every day, right? First from London to London, which was for you 2 hours each way, right? To commute from around Heathrow to Canary Wharf, it was like what, like solid 2 hours each way.
It was solid 2 hours. It was smooth in the morning, and every single evening there was something happening. Always delays. It was quite tiring.
I quite enjoyed it because like I was just driving to work, and it was like 11 minutes for me on a car. First on a graduate scheme in the Gas and Oil in Wally Parsons. Yeah. That was great because like I was coming home, I was cooking dinner, it was ready, and then I was like playing PlayStation, waiting for Maggie. I missed it.
I mean, London was great. I mean, commuting from like outskirts of London wasn't too bad. It was like 55 minutes for me. So honestly, that wasn't too bad, right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. But then moving outside, we eventually sort of got tired of London and wanted a bigger property, and we found it in Midlands. I've had some family members here. Let's not go into that. Anyway, we moved to Midlands, and then we've had a kid. And at that point, what happened then? You worked.
And so at this point, I was working for last stages, working for the consultancy company, like one of the nicest companies actually I ever worked with and heard of other people working for. They're called Natilic. Great team, a great service, IT consultancy. They asked me to start doing the Wi-Fi in that company, like solely Wi-Fi. I was always like doing like some networking and Wi-Fi, but started doing Wi-Fi like 100% there. I quite liked it, but it was quite difficult with the kiddos because very often we had like, night migrations where I spent like, 2 nights in a row in a data center, sleeping in a nearby hotel. That was quite hard. Commuting to London and like, committing to working for different clients. I was working for a different client pretty much every day or every week or every month. Like some projects were bigger than the others. The clients, they have different availability, and I had to be available for the clients, right? So when they tell me you need to be on Thursday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to be there on Thursday, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And they don't give a shit about, my kid coming back from preschool and that I would like to maybe spend some time with my kid. No, I have to go to work in order to earn some money. And that never really resonated with me. So even though I really liked the London environment, and especially like, having a liquid lunch every single day, like, 2 pints at 12 o'clock, that was great. I really liked that. But in the end, I always like felt inside that it's exchanging your soul for money, and this never really suited me. It gives you the false security because you can be made redundant in a day, right? So you're just a number typically in most companies, but most people feel it's secure, and it's definitely easier than doing what we're doing because you have your holidays, you have your fucking sick leave, and you have all of these things.
Like in mental health, I feel like
typically
you just click out at 5 p.m. and you're done. For most people, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that now more than before.
Yeah, we do appreciate that a lot now.
Yeah. So now, when is it the right time to have kids, Maggie?
I don't think there is the right answer for it.
When did we want to have kids?
We wanted to have kids when we were like 24 or something.
Something like that. So it was like a probably like third year of university. So actually that was fourth year.
I've done my...
You've done your bachelor's here?
Bachelor's here. So that was three years. You've been doing your engineering for 5 years in Poland,
master's.
So your master's. That was just like 5 years in a row, and you couldn't break it down.
Actually, it took me 6.5 because I was playing games too much.
So then I moved to live with you, and at that point when we lived together, I think I was sort of doing my master's back in Poland, and you were finishing off, and at that point we kind of felt like we could have a kid.
Yeah, for the first time ever, right? So we are quite young at that point. That was after all the hatred towards kids episode. So we are starting to be neutral. And we started to feel like maybe that would be a good idea to have some...
I still don't really like kids, but I think...
You don't like kids?
But I kind of felt like I wanted to have kid of myself, like of my own.
It doesn't make any
strange.
sense.
I know it doesn't, but you kind of, when you do feel the urge, you kind of.
It's
you
like
do
buying a
feel it.
Toyota fucking Prius, even though you don't like it. No one likes Toyota
feel
Prius,
like
and people
when
buy it. So that's the same if you're having kids.
When you meet someone and you enjoy being together, I feel like when you at some point you might not everyone does, but we've had the kind of feeling, and then it was, but then the influence of the environment, like everyone was like, no, just make sure that you finish
your education first,
and then you've got
start building a career, right?
Yeah, sort yourself out, get a proper job. I mean, I had a good job during,
maybe a blowjob. What you mean? The HR at HP was a good job.
It wasn't a bad job. Like I was a HR slash sort of payroll support in HP, and I could have, it wasn't like I wasn't working in the restaurant or whatever.
I would actually prefer to work in a restaurant, to be honest, rather than doing HR.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's not like we were starting from like scratch at that point, right?
I was working for the internet provider at that point, starting to be more involved.
So we've had reasonable money, right?
Yeah.
We've had our own flat. You've had your own flat.
Yeah.
So that was at that point we kind of wanted to have kids. It never really happened.
And then the family started chipping in. Yeah, wait, you will see. It will be very difficult for you to have kids now. Maybe you will have it later, right? So
and that later has taken us 10 years.
Yeah, because then you really start like being like focused on your career. So when it starts to pick up, you really want to do what you do and be the best at what you do. So not everyone has these traits, but we do. I do especially. So when I do something, I need to be one of the best in the fucking world. If I'm like average, it pisses me off. I can't sleep, right? I need to really fucking understand all this shit. So like with Wi-Fi, it very quickly escalated to the point where I really wanted to be like top 10, and I was fucking top 10, right? And that happened right after we had our first kiddo, Julian.
Correct,
right?
Yeah.
So just to give you an example, after having our first kid, I managed to build a Wi-Fi consultancy with my friend Matthew called the Wi-Fi Ninjas, on top of being employed for a very, very demanding, environment where we spend a lot of time in customer site, and scaled that podcast to be the second biggest Wi-Fi podcast in the world. And it's still the second biggest Wi-Fi podcast in the world, even though we haven't recorded a single episode in the last 5 years, which is a little bit crazy. So it is definitely possible. So our advice probably would be, if you feel like having fucking kids, just have your kids, right? We had tons of friends at university that were just taking like 1 year off because they had kids during the university and nothing happened, right? They just finished their uni 1 year later, they started their careers 1 year later. But at that point, when they are where we are, their kids are adults and they are still fairly young. And their kids, they don't see them as like, as like old parents, almost like, my kids, they all like constantly say to me, like Julian says to me, like, Daddy, how old are you? 40? Oh my God, you're so old. I said, come on, man.
What kind of? Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, but also at the beginning of your career, the responsibility is not that high, right? So I feel like when you've got your kids later, it's a bit more stable, but then you've got so much more like responsibility.
It's more stable, I mean financially stable.
Financially stable.
But finances is just like one of the pillars that are required for stability.
But then in terms of mental health, a lot later, you've got more serious positions. You've gone, you've got a lot more responsibilities. Perhaps, your business might be a bit maybe less flexible. I think there are pros and cons.
There are pros.
Pros and cons, but yes.
Pros or pros?
But yeah, so that's my point of view from our perspective, from what we've done, and just looking at the past. At the very beginning, yes, you're sort of building up your career, but it's not as serious, and you don't have to juggle some of the things. It's definitely less responsibility.
100%. And mental capacity also is like a massive difference for me. So even though like we are developing our skills like crazy, like think of like a sleepless nights where I was like, I don't know, like reading a book and doing some networking labs until 3 a.m. in the morning just to wake up at 7 and go to work. And then in breaks at work, I was still like, learning and thinking about the lab and doing like some drawings and stuff. It's like you can plan it in your own time. The lab doesn't go anywhere. You can always like have a chunk of time allocated to do your blocks of self-development. You can plan for it. You can squeeze in playing on PlayStation. You can squeeze in going for a pint. And you just have full control over your calendar outside of work. And even at work, there is still some amount of flexibility, especially when you start working from home and your tasks are more goal-oriented and less time-oriented. So we are not like fucking folding sandwiches all day. Instead, you have like, a task of 10 things that you need to complete by Wednesday, and you can do it all on Monday and then have like a Tuesday, Wednesday off, or you can do it like, in smaller chunks. But it's up to you, right? So you have control. And when you have kiddos, you have fucking no control, right? So they control you until they are older. And this episode is brought to you by Zen Properties, delivering high-performing UK property projects with a proven track record. We offer private investors between 11 to 15% annual returns, fully assets-backed, and with all legal costs on us. And if you'd like your business featured here, we also offer podcast sponsorship slots. So get in touch to learn more or find us on zenproperties.uk. That's how I feel, at least, right? So you have less time.
Correct.
And the time that you have that you can predict is like now our 1-year-old is with a childminder. So we know that we can record the podcast. So when we ask people, actually we are starting to pile up our guests in the podcast for the first time. So we have 3 guests already confirmed. We'll plan to release an episode just with me and Maggie, then an episode with guests, an episode with me and Maggie, then another episode with guests. So we'll do that. It will be even more interesting. This is fucking amazing, but it will be even better. And yeah, what I was talking about the time allocation of your things. So now we have 2 hours now. Okay, then Hannah goes to sleep. So probably we'll have like additional 1.5 hour when Julian is at school, and that's quite predictable. I wouldn't say we have any time in the evening, really, do we?
Not really, no, because they go to bed quite late and we cannot really fight it. So I know some parents, they manage to put their kids to bed at 7:30. Even if we physically keep them in bed, and if we did try it, they wouldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, so we start our evening routine. For the kids to fall asleep at like 9:30, we start our evening routine typically around 6:30 p.m. Okay,
yeah, and it still doesn't make them fall asleep any earlier. And yeah, it's been years now. We've tried everything, and it just doesn't work. So no one is going to tell me that all the kids are different, but for us, we don't have evenings. So it's not like we put them to bed at 8 p.m. and we can still carry on working.
Okay, so what?
Hannah was smaller, maybe I did manage to do a few evenings, right? If something's like totally urgent, even at 10 p.m. I would still work until like 11 p.m. or midnight. But not every single day. You cannot carry on like this.
I can work like in a week, like 2 days in a row, like later into the night. But then when I have less than 8 hours sleep, I'm the 8-hour sleep guy. If I have 7, I'm tired. And if I have less than 7, I'm fucked up. Okay, so I need to protect my sleep. Otherwise, I'm not too productive and my decisions are not the best on the following day.
But the point is that we've had it especially hard, and somehow, not to give credit to us, but like it was hard, but we've managed to still sort of get yourself motivated and work, and build the business ultimately.
That is correct. What do you think about the advice that you see on Facebook, Maggie, where you have like, the productivity gurus saying, I'm fucking waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, starting my day with going to the gym, then I go to the sauna, then I go to the fucking Pilates class, and then by 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm already in the office, then I'm doing my Pomodoro technique when I'm fucking working for 15 minutes, then I have 5 minutes break, and that makes me so amazing that I'm fucking crushing everything every single day. What do you think about that if you have kids?
What do you think they've got kids? I think they're like single guys.
They don't even have fucking wives. Like this is high maintenance, right?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, I don't think it's actually. I don't think I would be physically able. Like Hannah today, she has been waking up since 5 a.m. in the morning. So I haven't actually slept since 5 a.m. Not much anyway, until like 7:30. So can you imagine even that, waking up at 5 a.m. and, if you fell asleep the following night at like midnight because you've been working till late because the kids didn't go to bed until like 9:30. I feel like when you do have small kids, it's just not really doable. Unless you divide and conquer. I mean, if you really wanted to, maybe I could somehow...
Yes. Personal advice, I would scale down the expectations when it comes to your availability time-wise, and try to be more organized to make the most out of the time chunks that you can predict, like now. Okay. Otherwise, it's a constant fight where you want to finish something and then the kids want to have your attention. Of course, they want to have your attention. You are their fucking mom. You are their dad. They want to spend time with you. You should spend time with them. Otherwise, what is the point of having kids?
Yeah, correct. Or or like, what's the point of having kids if you want to dump them at nursery from like 7:30 in the morning until 6 p.m. right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have to do that because they've got jobs.
They have no choice, so that's fair play to them, right?
That's fair play. That must be so hard, but I appreciate.
That's what she said.
But I appreciate they have to do it. But we are talking about your own business, right? So it's a lot more harder, but then you should get some advantages of that. And I guess the advantage is the flexibility. But on the flip side, you need to really be motivated to get your things done.
Exactly. But then you are also rewarded, right? So like, imagine you're a little bit tired, you're a little bit annoyed that you cannot finish a task that you set your mind to finishing as soon as possible. Then you go downstairs, for example, where Maggie is with Hannah, and I want to grab my coffee and fuck up stairs as quickly as possible. And then she just sees me and it's like this massive smile, this massive smile, like filled with love. I just do this and she just like starts running towards me and gives me like the biggest hug in the world. This is quite kind of like making it worth it. Like, I don't know, like these moments that you have with your kiddos, like enjoy that while it lasts, because it's not gonna last forever. Like we still sleep with our kids because we kind of like it, right? So Julian, every single day he starts to mentioning, oh, Daddy, I'm gonna be sleeping alone. I fucking enjoy it still while I can, because probably next week, next month, 2 months from now, he will tell me, Daddy, please fuck off. And then, I won't be seeing Julian as much in the evening, and in the morning I will lose this cuddle time. And that's right. That's when I start being more independent.
And then when they hit like about 10 years old, they'll be like, don't go into my room, and they'll be like going into the teenage phase.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but in terms of like ups and downs, I guess the apps, is the flexibility you've got and the fact that you don't have to like dump them to...
You mean the apps of having your own business?
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of advantage to it in terms of flexibility, because that was our selling point when you left the job, when I left mine. We didn't finish
one
that
of the
story
things.
yet.
One of the things.
Yeah, but one of the things. So eventually, I also left my job, right? That was after COVID, so I've managed to work for about a year from my home office, and then my boss changed the company policy.
That was absolutely smooth, wasn't it? She's changed her working hours to like start at 6 or 7 o'clock, something stupid like this, in order to finish faster. Yeah. How did that work?
I don't know why I did that. For some reason, I've had this mentality of like having a longer day and having like so condensed hours with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe.
And no lunch break.
Yeah, like very short lunch break, and then to have that more time with family, whatever, and then maybe going away, because we used to go away quite a bit, but then we didn't really because we had kids. I don't know where it came from, but anyway, so a year of working, that was a hell. That was the worst time in our lives.
And that should be the first year of life of your kiddo.
No, that was after my maternity leave.
So that was the second year.
That was the second year, sorry. So I've managed to work through COVID because we were all stuck indoors. Yeah. And then we kind of sort of said
that was tough.
No more,
I remember.
yeah.
I had to fully not only so now my office, like this space, I call it a studio, right? So we create a lot of content here now and before as well. It was acoustically adjusted, so I have like a lot of foamy things, a lot of like fluffy things. So we have no echo.
You can see it just there.
It's pretty much everywhere. So I have like acoustic panels on top of me. There are like audio diffusers, so the voice, it sounds just better. Doesn't matter where I sit. I don't have to sit in this corner. I can go to the back of the room and it still sounds amazing. But then with 2-year-old or 1-year-old screaming in front of my office, I just couldn't record shit, right? So that was a little bit annoying.
Stressful.
And so I installed like acoustic doors, and then I had like self-closing magnetic curtain, adding extra 6 dBs of attenuation when it comes to the sound. Then I've got like the acoustic acoustic curtain, so I don't hear any sounds from the street if I really want to focus. And I've got the insulation about the door frame, and I've had to go for like stupid things in order to be able to focus while working from home, and I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's the correct way of doing things. So I think like if the kids, they require tons of attention, and our first kid required more attention than the second one, we should have given him more attention and fight less for working on.
Yeah, and I feel like that was the worst thing. I've been constantly fighting to do more work.
But you had no choice, right? You had a meeting in 15 minutes, you had a meeting in 20 minutes, then you're trying to put your kids to bed, and your entire team of people, they will not wait for you. They will question, like, when you have a meeting at 1, why won't you plan to be able and available to have a meeting at 1? They won't care that you have a kid that struggles to fall asleep and just wants to do something else, and you don't have anyone available for us to help, right? Because like we are in the UK pretty much alone, right? We don't have anyone here anymore. Everyone fucked off back to Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there is that.
So how did having a first kid affected our business? I feel like the reason why we even started our business was because of kids. So that was the first reason. So it's almost like we got this like huge.
It must have been like a tipping point, not
that
like
was a tipping point, because we've realized we don't want to be like, I don't want to say victims to the system, but almost like I felt like, what are we doing here? Like, we've got a choice, and why not grab it? And that was the motivation for you to leave your job, because your job like evolved, and because your boss, I guess your company noticed that you're so good on the stage, and then they started like to send Mac.
It's not only that, when we started, like when we were headhunted to work for that company, for Ekaha Ukla, like great company, right? It was COVID, so like all the conferences, in-person conferences, they were pretty much cancelled. So we were focusing on different things. Then the COVID stopped, right? And then the conferences, they reopened.
But then they've introduced a lot more.
100%,
it's almost like your job changed.
Yeah, but our job was to represent the company technically as marketing directors.
That was the idea later, not initially. So that's what my point is. It
was always the idea, but the dynamic changed after COVID.
Exactly, yeah. So then you're all of a sudden like required to be everywhere, like twice a month.
For a week
once
each time.
a month, yeah.
So I would say like we were away for at least a week.
And at that time, I think the phase for our boy, who's ADHD,
it was destroying, right? So like when I was like closing the door behind me, I just like could hear him screaming.
But not only that, he was so intense.
Yeah.
It was a really hard time. So I guess that was a tipping point for us, right?
Yeah.
And for you to sort of do something.
I would never want to do that again. So now, like, I know that we are extremely busy. We are busy as fuck, right? I've never been more busy in my entire life. So we have a lot of things to think about, to stay afloat financially, to fucking pay the taxes, to grow the business, to build the pipeline, to stay on top of everything. It's a lot, right? Like, 3 open projects, like 2 developments, quite major ones, and every project becomes a little bit bigger than the previous one. So it is a lot of work. So our commercial conversion sheet, for example, it has like 100 items in it, and each of these items pretty much you have to prepare for, chase, make sure that it's closed until you move to the next one. It's like you cannot move to item number 4 until item number 3 is completed. And it's a constant working with people, asking about timelines, chasing them, making sure that they do what they are supposed to do. It's a lot of work, but this is work at our terms now. So what I like, for example, is like we sleep a little bit longer. I hate waking up in the morning. Call me whatever, unproductive, I don't care. But I hate waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't give me any power. It pisses me off. I'm tired. So I prefer to sleep until 7:30 in the morning. Then at 7:30, still, I have no choice but to pick up my phone and respond to some guests, because not entire portfolio is outsourced to the property manager yet. It's like 3/4 of the portfolio. So I have to. But I do it on my terms. I know that we wake up, we have a cuddle with Julian, he goes downstairs, dresses himself up. In the meantime, I do like the responses that are required to be responded as soon as possible to. Then I make breakfast downstairs, Julian comes down, I prep him for school, Maggie drops me Hannah, and she has her exercise slot. We try to do it every day. So we have a routine, and then, she's like having a slow breakfast with Hannah. We got our bikes, rain, snow, doesn't fucking matter. We go to school on a bike with Julian. He loves it. I like it. And it's a great routine. So, I see him off to school every single day. And then Maggie, most of the time, she picks him up. But I have time. I'm available for my family in the morning. And then after that, I come back, clean the table from the breakfast. They finish eating. But that's how it looks like, right? So then we have a chat, we have a little bit of a catch up, and it's already like 9:30 in the morning. By that time, normally when I was employed, I would be on my third meeting, and it's no longer the case, right? I know that even if I come over to my office at 10 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning, it's still fine, right? And then the same happens like after Julian comes from school, right? We'll come down, we'll have a chat, we'll have a coffee and, a little bit of a break.
And that means that when you do have your slot, you really have to be on like hyper focus, and you have to be like extra efficient.
Yeah, but you have no choice, right? Like if you don't tie these loose ends with your family, if you know that your kids are like, banging on your door, they want to see you, and you're in the meeting, you cannot see them, that's annoying. That makes you unfocused and unproductive.
That is true.
So it is better to be like in a good state of mind all the time with your family, especially with this little thingy sitting here. So what we are trying to do now is to be more present for each other as well. So the business has affected like quite heavily our relationship, the time that we have to spend together. So with kids, we have less time. We don't sleep together on a daily basis. So that affects the relationship as well. And on top of that, we are super busy and we are available for kids more than we are available to each other.
Which is, I guess, not the right thing. Well, not.
Yeah, but it does start with kids as well, right?
So it does start,
yeah. It requires a tremendous amount of work.
And a lot of stress also that's kind of impacts the dynamic.
Yeah.
And just being very, very busy. And every time we have a moment, we talk about business. We don't talk about pleasure, or, what's happening in your world. And that's what we should change, because you have to have those conversations on a regular basis, which we're now trying to have a bit more, but not to talk about business because we work from home, but because we don't actually have a lot of time to talk about. Well, we do talk about business as well when we work, but we do try to get our things done as well.
Yeah, we try not to talk about business on a around dining table with kids around, but the reality is that's what she said. But we talk about business a lot, right? A lot, and we should talk about business less.
It's kind of intuitive. So this is like some of the things that we do have to change.
Is it ever going to stop, Maggie? Like us being so busy?
I think it will, yeah.
What are we going to do in order to still have a good family life and not be as busy?
Yeah, so I've actually had an idea, and I've put some notes on a piece of paper for Mag, because I was like, the juggling of everything, especially for me, makes it extra challenging, because we focus on business so much. So one of the things we could change in the future is to treat our household as a business, almost like as a separate business, because actually this is like a separate department the way I see it. You still need to deal with emails with school. There's shitloads of them, a lot going.
Well, for you,
for me, so a lot of them as spam. Juggling, but then you outsource that to me. I still need to do it. So it's almost like a different
I feel terrible, because I pretty much expect you to do all the boring shit.
But it has to be done. Someone has to do it, right? For you to do other bits. And I still need to do the work I do for the business.
I do the washing, though.
Yeah, so I guess...
And dishwasher. And breakfast.
I guess that's when you need to make a plan, and if you don't, things become ad hoc, and you then end up
constant firefighting
and checking who does what, and that's extra draining, especially for me. So I did say to Max, look, January comes, we're going to have almost like a business meeting to plan all our vacation for the year, the key dates for the year, so I can actually feel like we are being organized as a household, because the way I see it is a different filler of I know it's not business because it's not generating money, but
what do you generate so why do you have a business? Why do you have a business? What is the main purpose of running your own business?
To have less time, to have flexibility.
You want to have less time while working in a business, or more time?
To have more time to be able to spend, spend that.
So
time
ultimately,
on-
your
yeah.
business is hectic at the beginning when you are building. We are in the building phase still, right? So we haven't hit this momentum, the critical mass, right?
So
we
we're
have
in the worst, in the hardest,
intense.
challenging phase of building
Yes.
the business. It's called the
the
growth
growth
struggle.
struggle, yeah. But it is important to go for, right? So like imagine like we have a lot of projects open at the same time, right? So we are getting to the point where the business replaced my salary and we are able to sustain ourselves from the business alone without us working for anyone else. So that's a good position to be in. But in reality, in order to be able to outsource more and in order to pay all the taxes, in order to afford, like, going somewhere where we fancy, like, I don't know, maybe want to go to Canada tomorrow, let's fucking do it, why not? In order to afford these things, we need to finish our pipeline, and our pipeline will be finished in 9 months, and on top of that, finish one more project. And at this point, we will be in a position to considerably slow down, okay? Because then we have the AST money coming from long-term tenants that are covering our expenses, full expenses, including holidays, going to Poland every week, well, every year for 6 months, for 6 weeks, and like going for holidays, every school holidays, and like, extra trips, extra restaurants and stuff like that. We will be able to afford that. We don't want to have any excessive luxuries, because I find it, I don't know, like a little bit on a stressful side. Imagine having like a supercar or two and having a yacht or two and having to travel to that, to maintain it. What if someone scratches your car? And it's like,
I think it's more about having a big team around it.
so that's the thing. I don't want to have a big team. I want to have a lean
that's
structure.
the stressful part. I don't think being on a luxury yacht would be a stressful part to me, personally. But in order to get there, you need to outsource and you need to have a team on payroll.
Yeah,
and
but my point is, you don't need to spend on luxuries all the money that you have from your business. You should be reinvesting most of that money in the business and don't live outside of your means, right? For now, most of the money that we make, we take only what we need to survive. We'll be increasing it every year, but then the rest needs to be reinvested into our assets. And then the more money we have from assets...
That is the growth struggle, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't really see the money you're earning, because you have to keep reinvesting in order to get to the point when you've got enough per month.
Yes.
To feel like to really live comfortable and go to every vacation you want to go or do whatever you want to do.
Without going too crazy at the beginning, right? Because like this is still business-wise, this is still the beginning.
Just having a sort of a decent, 10K per month, we'd say.
10K a month is a lot of money, okay?
Yeah.
So we are able to survive as a family with a mortgage and with a single car. 5.5 grand net a month after paying tax would be enough for us. And
that's kind of the minimum, right?
And we are not crazy, right? So like, look, the mortgage is like £1,900 on a house that is worth $500,000 now, right? So that's a lot of money going there. The bills are quite crazy. So I'd say the bills and the council tax and electricity and water and everything is like £800. So we are looking at 2.7K. When you start adding like the childcare and the cleaner, like, yes, we have a cleaner. It's like, without the cleaner, I will have to do...
She's not a cleaner.
She's like a
help.
help.
She does like laundry and dishwasher, really. And
but that saves me 1 hour a day.
Yeah, so we've got 1 hour a day saved on like house chores.
Yeah, and that's very important to me. Like, so we have a childminder. She's absolutely amazing. The kid is happy. We have more predictability in our time, but we need to pay for it, right? And it's not free. So is it a luxury, you would say?
I would say it's a necessity. Well, and
I can't imagine doing what I'm doing and still, like, not having a childcare and having to do the washing and dishwasher myself. It's like, it's just too much and not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a low value task in the end.
So a question. So how do you feel having a kid impacts you versus me then, and in terms of building the business together?
Yeah, that's well, easy question to answer, to be honest. So it impacts you more than me. That's for sure. Because I have the luxury of just like coming here and I might post you a picture of my like lock. So basically I can just like lock myself in and no one can even like lift the handle there. So that's a little bit of a cheat. So when a baby is like a little bit sick or something,
yeah, I guess
I still work. And Maggie probably stops at that point, right?
So I do feel like women has got it a lot worse, and we obviously have got in theory, when you work for someone, you've got your 12 months maternity leave, but when you build your own business and at the stage where we are at, you don't have maternity leave. Like there's no such a thing. Unless, I don't know, you employ someone in your place, but honestly, it's not practical. Like
not always, because like in order, what needs to happen in order for you to be in a position to employ someone and outsource things?
You need to document your processes and be in a good place to outsource them, which we're not in that place just yet. But my point is, we do time-wise, sick kid, especially when they're tiny, they need mum more than dad, and you've got the luxury of just closing the door and just say, actually, I've got my long block of, you don't have to juggle as much, because you could in theory just leave the house, rent out the office if you wanted, right?
I would lose the morning with my kiddos. Nah, I don't want to.
And that's your advantage of having a business. But I do feel like women have got a lot more to juggle, and that really is weighing on your mental health. And
assuming you have brain.
Yeah. And like different things, it's almost like I need to look at some new tax laws that are going into place and just trying to figure out how it's applicable to our business. Maybe we could do things differently, but then actually I need to stop halfway through because Hannah just woke up, and then and then after that 2 hours later I'm like, Jesus, where did I stop? What did I read? And it's like you don't have this long block. Things take you a lot longer, and then you've got things to do with your other kid. Maybe certain things happen that you need to solve, and so you don't have that sort of outside noise, I would say. But then you've got other things on your plate as well. 100%. So I guess it's okay for a woman to build her business if the dad wants to be a stay-at-home dad. That's also possible.
Absolutely. Like imagine if I took care of all the kids and feeding them and looking after them, and
we know someone who does that, right?
Yeah. It's a viable option, right? Maybe a dad is like more of an employee housewife type, and you have entrepreneurial mind. So that would work as well. But that would kill me from the inside as well.
Yeah. And I also know on the flip side,
it's difficult, Maggie, for us because we are both quite entrepreneurial. So we both want to achieve things.
We also know some couples where they've absorbed the model of like the mom is taking care of the house department.
Yeah, you should listen to them more often.
And but that would kill me, physically and mentally. I don't think I would be able to do.
But don't think about yourself. Think about me. I would have all the amazing homemade food every day, right? Like imagine hot dinner every day. How luxurious does that?
Hot dinner every day. But that's the thing. I still cook from scratch. Hey. Like I still do that. I don't buy all the frozen food and all the pre-made stuff. So that's where the guilt comes into place, because you kind of, I guess for a woman it's extra harder, especially if the woman has got this business kind of.
But I agree. Ambition. But you do this beautiful food, but then you leave a fucking mess, and it takes me 1 hour to clean later, consistently every single day.
But at least you eat healthy, so I guess that's a good thing. But that's what I mean, like the constant.
And about the healthy stuff, don't you think it's also a big contributor to be able to have more flexibility in your calendar, to plan for you being more healthy and look better after yourself?
Yeah, it's just the juggling. You have to juggle a lot, right? And then you've got your long block of work, which is great. And I guess someone needs to give away for someone else to.
Yeah.
But it's only a very short period of time. So I feel like when Hannah is a lot older, then this is going to even out. But the point is, you need to have one primary carer. One parent has to sort of take over a bit more. So if you don't divide in terms of like the woman is taking care of the household and the man is just
then you need
working
help
for the business, and you're trying to share the way we are, it's a very different dynamic. But then one person is always going to be a bit more screwed, I would say. But then that's where you come in place, and you try to support me, and we try to juggle things and the house chores and this, that and the other, and there's a bit more balance.
Yeah, trying is a good word.
But hence we need to make our processes more efficient. That's why I said, look, let's just have that business meeting and just actually talk about our personal goals, how we want to manage the holidays, how we want to manage our kids, how we want to manage our time, because effectively it's going to help our business to run.
That is true.
And we don't have to constantly juggle things.
What do you feel? How productive are you when we don't have a good relationship Like sometimes, like, you know, I don't know, like pretty much consistently, every time we launch a new property in the SA business, for example, I'm away for 2 weeks, okay? So that's the reality of it, right? So I need to be on site. We need to work on finishing touches. So, you know, I am a operations director in my business, right? So when it comes to the direction of what we buy, what we invest in, it comes mostly from me. Maggie starts to pick up more and more of that. But at the same time, I'm a main freaking designer of the spaces that we produce. And also, I'm a fucking photographer as well for those spaces.
You shouldn't be. I think you do a lot more than you should. Right?
Yes. Well, do I like it? Yes, it gives me like a strange satisfaction.
It's a lot more. Yeah, you have to outsource.
But we have to outsource more.
Currently, you do like.
But that's why I have to like disappear for 2 weeks when we have a launch, right? So we work with the construction team on finishing touches, snags, when everything is hung. How is it hung? Do we have everything that we wanted to order? Does it feel good? We don't have any empty spaces that need filling. What is the furniture that we forgot to put into the ordering list? This still sits with me. It must, when I talk about it, I'm fucking embarrassed, right? It feels stupid. Like imagine, I don't know, Jeff Bezos doing, I don't know, the maintenance list for his contractor for Amazon office. Like,
yeah, so
no.
we know we shouldn't be doing it, but we're not yet in a position. But we're so close. Right?
Yeah.
We can outsource.
But we have our standards, right? So first, before I can outsource, I need to train up my team in order to be able to take these responsibilities off me. And we have a solid plan for that to happen. So next year, when you are listening to episode, I don't know, 45, then I will not be doing these things anymore, right? I will be able to either work less or focus on different things. And also, like, Maggie becomes more and more available time-wise with the kid no longer being like a super tiny baby, and she's taking more business responsibilities as well.
Yeah, so my aim is to outsource all the transactional activities I do. So anything to do with bookkeeping and sort of admin stuff, compliance-wise, that my aim is to outsource it and just to keep myself more like on a strategic level and also be more close to the core business things that are happening, because we do need a continuity plan as well. It's so important. But yeah, just outsource and focus on strategic, like, core things of the business that actually matter. And everything I can outsource, I will, right, very soon.
Yeah, we have to. So now we are looking at, I don't know, like ditching our accountants, for example, and outsourcing offshore to someone cheap as shit, right? So people, you can find someone outside of the UK that is way cheaper and educated in the UK accountancy law, okay? And they can do it for you. So we haven't explored that. So now we are thinking about having, like, I don't know, the tax advisor that helps us out to structure our business in the correct way, and then someone else to execute that vision for us, without having to pay tons for the accounts every year, which is stupid, right?
Yeah. I actually think...
Why are you making this like face? She's probably like hoping that they are not listening to the podcast.
I really do hope so. I mean, yeah, let's see where it all takes us. With our current accountants. But we do have a plan. I do feel like even accountants in the UK at the moment, what they've started doing, I've noticed, because so far all the people I've been in touch with from our accountancy firm, they are not British, and I feel like, and often, like, even when I've had a call with the accountant, she wasn't even based in the UK, so maybe they do employ them maybe they've been 100%. Like, educated.
Why would they pay so much money for the local resource?
Yeah, and I guess that's how you make money. Having an accountancy business.
Yeah, totally.
We want to grow them.
Yeah, we want these accountants, but we don't need to have anyone in the middle.
And then we pay the UK rates, but actually they pay the business, the boss of the accountancy firm pays the whatever, a Filipino rate to the lady who is actually UK educated.
Yeah, 100%. We need to find that lady.
So we need to find them, and just pay them directly, but that's the next step. We'll see how that goes. Yeah,
that's the next. So there are multiple next steps. Outsource the rest of the SA portfolio to property manager. That's for me. So I don't have to wake up every single day to a smartphone. And, you know, first thing after I open my eyes is to respond to messages to guests. Yep. It's required, but it pisses me off. So this goes on a shopping blog.
Yeah,
accountancy,
for me,
bookkeeping.
And, you know, because I would like to just sign up, and I think I will this time, like, to the ATT training. So I might sort of, you know... tax technician, membership, they provide a lot of the training that is more on a strategic level. So I think even like when you do operations, it's so good to be aware of what's going on within the industry, within tax for properties. So I should be focusing on that, not on like bookkeeping stuff for like picking 7 companies and then helping out a friend and a brother and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the good way of using your skills. But then you need to have to set everything up, know what's happening, and then just outsource.
100%. But we are aware and we are working on it, and I'm sure that there are more people like us. So
Exactly.
you will find tons of like entrepreneurs saying, "Oh, I've done it all. I'm so fucking amazing." Everyone goes through the same struggles, and there is not many people that really have nailed it when it comes to outsourcing everything and gaining access back to their own time. So most of people in the web, they are pretty much on the lying side, like making it more colorful and better than it really is. Building your own business is a difficult thing. It does require sacrifices, and there are no shortcuts, okay? There are no shortcuts. So you need to put an energy and time into your business in order to eat that fruit of amazingness after fucking building it later. And it's not like next week. It's like, 2 years from now.
Yeah. And I guess the challenge is to keep up with it. Even when
like me
things,
with
you. Likewise. So I guess keep up with it, and just even when things are hard and you don't see really the fruits of your money, because you need to recycle them and recycle all over again, and you cannot go on holiday this year.
First time ever, we didn't go for school holidays.
Ever.
Yeah, and we have $500,000 on equity and another $500,000 coming, and the cash flow of 1 million in service accommodation
business.
business.
By sacrifices, right? Sacrifice.
How is it possible that we are honestly turning over 1 meal and we can't afford to buy a pint in the pub?
Did we take on too much, you think?
No, we're just doing it right. So you need to go for this shit, right? Reinvest everything.
Because if we wouldn't take on that extra project, then
Cotswolds, for example.
And there's also a timeline and then things would drag for extra number of years. So, but then now we know that once we manage for the next 12 months,
yes,
you will then get a reward for it, and then that's another
Technically, next year we would be in a position to retire and go to fucking Thailand and live there.
Yeah.
Without working anymore.
That would be nice.
We won't do that probably, but
we won't
that's
do that.
technically possible.
Yeah. So what are the key takeaways from today's podcast then?
Key takeaways. Oh, when you work for your own business and you have kids, you probably don't need to shave too often. So look at me. I start to eat my mustache. And that's how I understand I need to shave. So for example, my construction head, Paul, when he doesn't get shaved every day, he goes mad, and he needs to have his hair cut at least once every 2 weeks. So that's amazing, right? So recently he didn't cut his hair for a month, and he was crazy, itchy. Oh my God, this pisses me off. I shave every 4 to 5 months, okay? And I go to the barber maybe once every 6 months when I really start to look like homeless, the COVID vibe. I can do that, right? So I don't care about people judging me in the work environment, and I can spend more time with my kiddos. It's whatever. I spend time where it matters, so I'm no longer a fat cunt. So I started to be more lean, and I feel stronger, better, because I have time for it. Previously, I didn't have time for it. Every time I wanted to, go and exercise, I had an ad hoc fucking meeting in the calendar that takes me through to 6 p.m. in the evening without even a break to have a piece, right? So I need to say, oh, sorry, I need to go to the toilet in the middle of the meeting because I don't fucking have time in between the meetings to do so. Not to mention the exercise or anything else, and not having the luxury to do it in the morning with the kids. Come on, how crazy good is that? So that alone is worth it.
Yeah, but the key takeaways today, really, because we're talking about growing a business with kids.
Are we?
Yeah. Go. So what are the key takeaways for you?
Key takeaways when it comes to growing the business. Okay, so quite a few actually. So first of all, I do not believe personally that kids stop you from achieving success in business. With Julian, I built the Wi-Fi, a business that was extremely successful and going on a very high trajectory before I got headhunted. That's with kid number 1. With kid number 2, we together just left
Easy
our
one.
employment
Easy
and
kids.
started doing the property business. So we are growing businesses like crazy while having small kids, and that works. It's difficult, yes, but that works. So my key takeaway is just no excuses. If you wanna do it, if you wanna build a business, just fucking do it. Like no excuses. I can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, and also like if you want to have kids, just have them. And being an old parent, it's not necessarily a good thing. That is, if I could change one thing, I wouldn't be an old parent, because I do feel like I'm being like an old parent.
No, yeah, you are old in general.
Like a lot older. Yeah. So obviously everyone is different. Everyone has got their own opinions and the way how they feel. Therefore, I would say don't listen to anyone if you do want to do it. And I think nowadays a lot of the mainstream perceptions do change, almost to the point that you don't have to go to uni if you don't want to, because actually maybe you've got a different idea of
That depends on the social background as well. That was not an option for me, for example.
yeah, maybe you want to do some sort of a specialist training first, because the thing is, at the beginning of your career, what you have to do, you have to become strong in one thing. So education is the key, and I'm not saying it is not. Whether it's a train, I would say maybe education and knowledge is the key. So whether it's a property background training or some sort of specialized training of some sort that would take you later, to where you want to be, that's fine. But I feel like having kids, even at that point, is actually not as bad as having them later when things become a lot more serious.
And you do have more power when you're younger. Physically, you can sustain more running around with the kiddos, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just say trust your own instincts and believe in yourself, right? When you're at the very beginning of your sort of journey.
And for us, it doesn't matter really, but for the ladies, it probably does. It's not as easy for the older ladies to have kids, is
But
it?
also it depends what kind of partner you're with, right? If you're gonna do all the shit yourself, then maybe it's not a good idea. But if you've got a partner who can help you out with things, then yes, then that is a very different dynamic, and then you can share the burden. So obviously it all depends on your circumstances, but I guess what I want to say is that it's not like a roadblock, because you're still going to achieve what you're going to achieve. It's just going to be maybe a year later. In the grand scheme of things, it's not really a long time.
Nah. Okay, so the final question then, was it worth it, having kids?
Yeah, but it was worth it for me. Would you imagine? How would you imagine your life without kids? I think it would be.
I would be working from a yacht in fucking
boring.
Spain.
But then, how boring would it be?
I would fucking sail to Italy if I'm bored with Spain.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, having young kids is just such a short period in your life, and then it's going to finish. Because really, having kids, it's just for the first 8 years. Actually, having kids is more like for the first 4 or 5 years, and then it's almost like feeling like you have got less and less kids because they are so independent.
Yeah, they have their friends coming over and they don't want you there.
Exactly. So, and then they're gone. So it's really not having, so it's and then imagine not having kids. Like how many movies can you watch?
But is it really going to give you like the ultimately a satisfaction and pleasure by watching movies? Like when you're dying alone.
There's no more movies because you've watched everything.
Yeah.
I was there. Like we've been there, right?
But then like, would you prefer to like die alone, but having the satisfaction of watching fucking 3 movies a day?
Again, I think everyone is different, and people just prefer not to have kids, and it's it's everyone's choice.
True, 100%.
And if they want to.
Actually,
we've got friends, we've got lovely friends, and they don't have kids.
In our environment, most of our friends, they have no kids.
That is actually true, but like we've got our friends in Spain right now, and they've been doing so many amazing things with their life.
Mr. and Mr. Winter.
And they've had their own pub at one point. They've had the Airbnb at one point in Wales.
I miss them so much. Fucking hell, we should go there.
We're gonna go and visit them.
Yeah.
We're gonna, and so you can make your life really beautiful and fulfilled without kids too. But
True.
I guess this is just our own experience, and I guess it's more relevant for people who may be considering having kids, right?
Yes, the world doesn't stop. And also remember, like when your partner is pregnant, the shops are still open, you know, after the baby is delivered. You don't have to like stack up on everything and have everything 100% ready and like, you know, not do your business and not look after yourself when you're expecting a child. When the child is born, they sleep most of the time. So you will have time to I don't know, to renovate something or grab those nappies. You'll be fine. Yeah?
Yeah. So I guess this is it, right?
This is it. Okay, so guys, like, reach out to us if you have any questions. If you want to discuss, have a shoulder to cry on, and like, you know, cry that I don't have any more time after having kids, you can always, like, you know, shout. I will go for a pint with you, no problem at all. And reach out to us if you have any technical questions as well. So maybe instead of having a kids discussion, you want to discuss, I don't know, like a commercial conversion, and I'm there for you as well. Like, subscribe. It honestly helps, guys. Like, I hate asking for it, but the more comments and engagement we have, the better positioned we are, and this content will help a bigger amount of people. And lastly, let me know what you think about our new setup. So instead of using an iPhone, we are using a camera behind the teleprompter, and that's actually an old setup, but I just like discovered a way to use the single person studio for both of us, which probably works. Yeah, let us know. And thank you very much for your attention today, for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
See you,
Take care.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Love you.